Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm setting myself a little task this Sunday afternoon. It's just turned 12 o'clock. So my boyfriend has decided to run a half marathon this morning. It started at 10:30, so he's been doing it for an hour and a half. And I just went to go and watch him. But before that, I was doing loads of pottering around the house. I filmed a YouTube video that I posted 2 weeks ago about my 2025 New Year's resolutions. And I have been feeling very productive since doing that. And then seeing him running the marathon, half marathon, I was like, I'm feeling inspired to be even more productive this Sunday. So I'm challenging myself to finish an agent query and see how much of my fourth book I can draft, my manuscript, I can draft before he gets back from his half marathon. He has actually been down with a cold. So usually a half marathon would take my boyfriend 2 hours to run. It started an hour and a half ago. I think he's more likely to finish within 2.5 hours. That's what he was aiming for. But then I did just see him just now and he was looking pretty good out there. His pace was very good. So I'm gonna see how much writing I can do before he gets back. I have set myself, if you watched last week's video, you'll know my 2026 New Year's resolution is to get an agent by the end of the year and to finish my fourth book manuscript, first draft. I am doing that by breaking it down to 2 agent queries a week, 1 chapter a week. I've done an agent query already this week. I've written depends how long the chapter's going to be, but I've written 800 words of a chapter, and my chapters are usually quite short, between 1.5, usually around the 1.5K mark. So I'm almost there. So basically, I just want to see how much I can get done before he gets home. So I need to speed this intro up because time is of the essence. I've either got half an hour if his pace is right, or I've got an hour. I thought I'd bring you along with me. I've made a cup of coffee in my new coffee machine, which I'm very happy about. I've been experimenting with the coffee. Some coffees have been really nice, others not so much. I'm getting there. Every day is a learning curve. But in terms of agent queries, I have almost written the first draft of the query that I want to send out. So I'm going to try and finish that now before he gets home is my minimum target. Then if I can write some manuscript, I'm going to do that. So let's go. It's 12 o'clock. Let's see when he gets home. Let's start drafting or finishing drafting this agent query and let's send it. Okay, I need to see if I can fit in here. So I don't normally write here. I think the last time I actually sat here at this angle was my first ever YouTube video. But I was thinking I needed to change up the scene and feel a little bit more productive on a writing space. Lola is still on the sofa. I think I mentioned it in another video, but she has got she's got a broken nail which had to be removed and it was infected. It's so bad. She's taking weeks to recover. We thought it was a fractured bone, but it turns out it was a fractured nail, and we thought the fracture pull would be better because there's no chance of infection because it's internal, but actually it was external and the vet didn't notice and it was a whole saga and it was horrible. She's got this horrible bandage on and she's recovering. I'm trying not to I just don't want her to move that much, and so I'm hoping she stays on the sofa while I'm here, but if not I will put her bed down here. But I'm going to start getting this agent query up. I am writing to quite a big agency, which makes me a bit nervous because I'm worried that they'll just reject it. But, you know, I've got to put myself out there. So I sort of have a few bits of my query letter that stay the same, and then I always try and tailor my query letters to the person I'm writing to. So I just need to find the letter. When I did I've got a whole folder for agent queries, but when I was doing my YouTube video for 2 weeks ago, I screen shared, and I don't normally screen share, so now I shut everything down, so now I have to re-grab it. Okay, there's an agent query subfolder. Oh no, that's my old book. Okay, right, I've got the query letter up. I always aim for the letter to be around 500 words, so between 500 and 600 words, one size of A4 on Times New Roman 12 font. That's always my aim. But yeah, I've done the opening sentence, I just need to read it. And I'm gonna actually turn the microphone off and stop my voice because I got a record player for my birthday and I've got the folklore album and I'm just putting that on in the background while Tom isn't here. I'm gonna go play that and I'm gonna type away. So let's see how much I can get writing. I've got 566 words that need to be edited and refined and shaped to this agent And that's what I've got to do. I think I could do that definitely within 25 minutes. So let's go. Tom could be coming back at any moment, but I've done the first draft of the letter, so now I need to read through it. Sometimes I don't manage to pull every personal bit about the agent that I would want to, but actually just skimming my notes, there's stuff that I definitely want to add that I don't know. Oh no, I did already add it, so I just need to read it through and then check it all makes sense. There's always a bit in the middle of the query where I personalize it, where it doesn't quite click, but then it just clicked, so I'm very happy with that. Now I need to read it through again. It's 586 words, so I took some out and added some. Now I'm going to read it through, check it makes sense. If it does, every agent query you need an extract of your book, a synopsis, and the query letter, and the word limits or what they want can differ slightly depending on the agent. So I know that they want 3 chapters, a letter, and a synopsis. So I just, even though the extract and the synopsis stay the same, I always read through the synopsis just again, because sometimes if you read it through so many times, like in the beginning stage, you might miss something. Like I noticed after like 5 agent queries that I'd repeated some words in the synopsis, or like something didn't quite make sense. So I've edited that now. So that's just why I do it every now and then, like just before sending an agent query. And I think the like fear in me is that I send them the wrong thing or something. So I'm going to read this letter. Hopefully Tom doesn't come back before I can hit send on the email. We'll see. But imagine, agent query almost done in half an hour. It usually does take me a lot longer than this. I did have half of this drafted in case you're like, oh, maybe I can do it that quick. Usually it takes me about 2 hours, I'd say. But I've got quicker at the moment because I've got into the swing of it. And also, if you didn't see from my videos, I was very happy with my cup of coffee. I'm just really getting used to how strong the coffee is at home and like adjusting to that. But I also had to turn Taylor Swift off because I was getting so distracted because I know all the words, so like I wanted to sing and that was distracting me. So yeah, I've become like, I used to always be able to listen to music while I worked or an audiobook, but I think as I'm getting older, I'm struggling because it's overstimulating me and it makes me really sad. I feel like I'm getting old. I'm like my dad, he can't do it. Send it immediately. So what I'll do, like I just mentioned, is I'll double check, well, I'll read the synopsis, I'll double check, I think they do want 3 chapters, but obviously you need to triple check the requirements, like the submission guidelines, to just make sure that everything you've got, like your extracts, are exactly in the format and word count that they want. Then I'll find the email address. Then what I'll do is I'll read the letter again, like I'll give myself like a 5-minute break, because when you use a base for your query, so like my elevator pitch, my blurb, and all of that is exactly the same for every book, for every letter, you end up skimming it and you finish the sentence in your head because you kind of almost know it off by heart. And that's when you can get into the mistake of adding mistakes or not spotting them or not fixing word repetition and things like that, because a lot of lawyers say you can't separate the wood from the trees, and I love that saying. Ever since learning it at law school, I always say it. Yeah, you literally can't separate the wood from the trees, and so you should always, once you've written it, you've got it to a place you're happy with, take a break. So it could be like, I might, as a type A person, have something else on my to-do list. So I might want to unload the dishwasher, something like that, do something completely different, take Lola for a walk, although she can't now, as we know. I will do that, and then I'll come back just as I'm about to hit send and make sure I'm completely happy with it. But so far it looks good. I'm definitely getting better at these queries, and I've done a total so far of, how many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've done 11. I've had 1, 2, 3. No, so I've had 2 auto rejections, 1 personal rejection, and 1 they just didn't reply, which is really sad. It was Frayed Pages, which is Anna Todd's agency, and I love that agency because they do everything different. Like, Anna Todd came from Wattpad, and she's created this absolute phenomenon, and now she's created her own literary agency as well as like a film production company, to get people that have different routes into fiction and writing or film or whatever. It gives them an opportunity because she doesn't expect them to go down the traditional publishing routes that some would have. And I was actually worried, having self-published my first 2 books, that I would get penalised for that by agencies. And I'm sure there's some that's read it, and as soon as I put in my letter, because you do need to be honest and say that you've self-published stuff, there will be agents that literally see that, don't even care that it's for charity, and that my like old employer used to match the donations by 5, so like the whole cost of the book goes to charity. Wouldn't care about that. Would just see that it's self-published and don't like it. Some agents just really don't like people that have self-published books. So I could be shooting myself in the foot, of course, but I went to a few talks a couple of years ago, and one lady was from Simon & Schuster, and she said, never hide that you've self-published, always be honest, and there will be an agent out there that doesn't care about it, or that wants people from different backgrounds in the same way that like Anna Todd's agency does. But that was such a tangent, but that's something that I always keep in my query letter, because they want to know about you. And each agency will say specifically what they want to know. So they might say any publishing history, which then of course I cannot keep it out of, but they would want to know a bit about me. And my first 2 books are so integral to my identity and part of who I am as an aspiring traditionally published author, and they're how I got into writing, that I just can't leave it out. And the whole reason I write is because I enjoy it. It's a mental health escape, but those books got me out of such a dark place that I'm glad that the money for them is going to Samaritans, and I'm glad I self-published, because I wouldn't have been able to do that if I traditionally published them. And I think that my writing is getting better now, so I don't know that I would want to make money from those books. I want the money to go to charity. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So I'm now on the agency's website. So it says, submission should include a covering letter telling us about yourself and the background of the book. In case of fiction, they should consist of the first 3 chapters and approximately the first 50 pages of the book to a natural break, and a brief synopsis. So brief synopsis is usually indicating, hey, I want that in 1 page, which is what I've got mine down to. So all of mine does that. I've got 3 chapters in an extract. I've got a covering letter that tells me about myself and the background of the book, because I talk about my mental health struggles. Because every book I write, even now, always will feature mental health struggles, invisible disability, or neurodivergence. That's really important to me, because I think my inspiration comes from the fact that I work in finance, and it's such, not like an ableist culture, because it's not at all, but it's such a demanding career that to have any kind of struggle, it's such a challenge. And so I wrote about that in my 3rd book. And I don't think people give people enough credit for having to deal with, like, even if it's just normal stuff, like there's people at my job who are single mums or have young kids, and how they balance that, how I balance like therapy or needing to do stuff to protect my mental health is huge alongside such a demanding career. So that's what I wrote about in my 3rd book, but that's what I'm always so keen to do. And I guess because I am tapping into my own experience, but I feel like there's not enough books out there that do that. So that's why I write, if that makes any sense. But again, this is such like a waffly tangent, as I'm just checking the submission guidelines. So, okay, I found the agent I want, which is what it's telling me to do, and I should only submit to 1 agent in an agency, which is very normal. They want it on email, which they put the email in here already. Word or PDF format is acceptable, tick, all good. It's also now 12:42. Tom will be back any moment, so let's hope I can get this done.
Hello.
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 Well done, look at that medal. I'm doing a YouTube video. So Tom just got back as I was finishing reading through the query letter for the last time, and Tom got a PB on his half marathon. So here I was hoping he'd do it in 2.5 hours to give me more time, and he finished it in
2 hours and 1 minute.
2 hours and 1 minute. So I didn't quite finish this challenge, but I basically was there. So now I'm gonna put the query onto the email and add all the attachments and hit send. I'm hitting send. Okay, I've hit send. That makes me feel a little bit sick. But yeah, agent query done. Basically, as Tom got back from his half marathon, didn't do any writing on my fiction book, but I'm going to take a break and then get back to that. That was probably too ambitious because he got a PB, he ran so quick. So we're going to have lunch and take a break after doing an agent query. We've both been very productive this morning. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.